Most men I meet over 60 share a quiet confidence when it comes to masturbation. They believe it's harmless, irrelevant, or simply a thing of the past. Some stopped paying attention to it years ago, thinking it's not important anymore. Others still keep it as part of their life, but without giving much thought to how it affects their health now. Here's what rarely gets talked about. The way you masturbate in your 60s, 70s, and beyond matters more than most men realize. Your body is no longer the same as it was at 30. The wrong timing, technique, or frequency can silently chip away at your energy levels, accelerate testosterone loss, strain your circulation, and even interfere with your sleep and mood. These effects don't happen overnight. They build slowly, often so gradually that you mistake them for just aging. But in reality, many of these changes can be slowed, reversed, or avoided entirely, simply by understanding and correcting 7 common mistakes older men make. This isn't about shame, guilt, or telling you to stop. It's about giving you the facts your body wishes you knew earlier, so you can make this private act a tool for strength, recovery, and vitality instead of a hidden drain on your health. And to show you what I mean, let me start with a man who came into my clinic not realizing that several of these mistakes were already costing him years of energy. Meet Daniel, a 67-year-old retired firefighter. On the outside, he looked healthy, still tall, still broad-shouldered, and still making time for morning walks around his neighborhood in Austin. But when he came to see me, he leaned forward in the chair and said, "Doc, I feel like my engine's running on half power. I'm not sick, but I'm tired, all the time." Daniel told me his sleep wasn't great. Some nights he tossed and turned, other nights he'd wake up at 3 a.m. and couldn't get back to sleep. He'd also noticed he was more irritable with his wife, and less interested in the hobbies he once loved, fishing, woodworking, even visiting his grandkids. As we talked, he casually mentioned masturbation. He still did it, maybe 3 or 4 times a week, but admitted he always rushed through it. He often did it late at night to try and fall asleep, and sometimes twice in the same day when he was bored. He never thought much of it, after all, wasn't it harmless? When I looked closer, Daniel was unknowingly making 5 of the 7 mistakes we'll talk about today. The wrong timing left him drained in the mornings. The rushed technique kept his nervous system stuck in stress mode. Too little recovery time was wearing down his muscles and energy reserves. And using it as a fix for insomnia was making his sleep even worse. Once we made small, targeted changes, Daniel's energy began to climb. He slept deeper, woke up with more focus, and told me he actually wanted to do things again, not because I told him to stop, but because we made this habit work with his body instead of against it. And that's exactly why I talk about this topic openly. I'm Dr. Katherine Rocker, and for over 30 years I've worked with men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, from retired teachers to former military officers to lifelong blue-collar workers. Different backgrounds, different lifestyles, but one shared goal: to stay strong, sharp, and independent for as many years as possible. In my practice, I've learned something most men never hear from their doctors: sexual health, including masturbation, is deeply connected to overall health. It affects circulation, hormone balance, muscle strength, mental clarity, emotional stability, and sleep quality. When it's done right for your age and body, it can be a quiet but powerful tool for maintaining vitality. When it's done wrong, or without awareness, it can become an invisible drain on your physical and mental resources. The reason I'm here today is simple. Too many men either stop entirely without knowing the effects, or keep doing it the same way they did in their 20s, not realizing their bodies have changed. This video isn't about telling you to quit or pushing you to do more. It's about giving you the facts, the science, and the real stories so you can avoid the 7 mistakes I see most often, and make this part of your life work with your health, not against it. Before we get into those mistakes, you need to understand how your body at 60 plus responds to sexual activity differently than it did decades ago. By the time you reach your 60s, your body is running on a different operating system than it did in your 20s or 30s. The engine is still capable, but the fuel mix, the wiring, and the wear on the parts all matter more than before. First, testosterone production has slowed. This hormone isn't just about sex drive, it supports muscle strength, bone density, red blood cell production, and mood regulation. Lower levels can mean less physical power, slower recovery after activity, and even subtle shifts in confidence and focus. Second, circulation to the pelvic region changes. In your younger years, blood vessels there responded instantly to arousal, delivering oxygen and nutrients to keep tissues healthy. After 60, those vessels need more consistent exercise to stay elastic and responsive. Without it, circulation can weaken, leading to reduced sensitivity and slower response times. Third, nerve sensitivity itself evolves. Some men experience reduced sensation, which can lead to overcompensation through more aggressive technique. Others find certain areas become more sensitive, which can shorten the experience and increase physical tension. Finally, your nervous system's relationship with sexual activity shifts. Arousal and orgasm release dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins, chemicals that help regulate stress, promote relaxation, and improve sleep. If you change when and how you engage in sexual activity, those benefits can be maximized, but if you get it wrong, you can accidentally spike stress hormones, disrupt your sleep cycle, and leave yourself more fatigued than before. This is why the same habits that felt fine in your younger years can have a different effect now. And it's why avoiding certain patterns, the 7 mistakes I see most often, can make all the difference in how you feel. Let's start with the first mistake, getting the timing wrong. Mistake 1, wrong timing. Bill, age 66, had a morning routine that seemed harmless. Wake up, make coffee, spend a few minutes reading, then head back to the bedroom for a little time to himself. He believed starting the day that way helped him relax before tackling his to-do list. But here's what was really happening. When Bill climaxed early in the morning, his body released a burst of prolactin, a hormone that signals relaxation and recovery. In his younger years, he could bounce back quickly. After 60, though, this hormonal shift left him physically sluggish for hours. He'd find himself needing an extra cup of coffee just to get moving, and even then, his focus was dull until late morning. For older men, timing matters more than ever. Sexual activity close to the start of your day can drain the very energy you need for mental clarity and physical stamina. That doesn't mean mornings are off limits, but if you choose that time, it's best to schedule it on lighter days or after important tasks are done. Mistake 2, too frequent. Mark, age 70, was recently retired and finally had the freedom to set his own schedule. With more time at home and fewer responsibilities, he found himself masturbating almost every day, sometimes twice a day. It started as a way to pass time, but he didn't notice how much it was costing him until months later. Mark began feeling chronically tired. His legs felt heavy during his walks, and his workouts left him sore for longer than before. Lab work showed his testosterone was lower than it had been the year prior, and his recovery markers, things like muscle protein synthesis, had slowed down. Here's the science. While sexual activity can give short-term boosts to testosterone, doing it too frequently without enough recovery can have the opposite effect. It's like lifting weights. If you train the same muscle every single day without rest, it doesn't have time to rebuild. Your nervous system also needs downtime to balance stress and relaxation hormones. For men over 60, the sweet spot is often fewer, more intentional sessions rather than frequent, automatic ones. Spacing them out by at least a day or two allows your body to reset, recharge, and get the full benefits without the cumulative fatigue. Mistake 3, skipping recovery. Tom, age 68, had always been active. He played tennis twice a week, went for regular hikes, and enjoyed maintaining an intimate connection with himself. But when his wife began traveling more for work, he started masturbating almost every day, sometimes on top of his usual physical activities. At first, Tom didn't notice a problem. But within a couple of months, he began feeling a deep muscle ache in his lower back and thighs that didn't fully go away. His sleep felt lighter, and he often woke up with a wired but tired feeling, exhausted in his body but restless in his mind. Here's what was happening. After orgasm, your body needs time to restore muscle energy stores, balance hormones, and re-regulate the nervous system. In younger years, this recovery window is short. But in your 60s, it can take longer, sometimes 36 to 48 hours, for your body to fully bounce back. If you skip that recovery time and stimulate again too soon, you can overload the system, creating a cycle of physical fatigue, hormone imbalance, and even pelvic discomfort. The fix isn't to stop altogether, it's to pace yourself. Think of it like strength training. You wouldn't train the same muscle group intensely every day. Allowing recovery days keeps your energy higher, your muscles healthier, and your nervous system balanced. Mistake 4, rushing the process. Peter, age 65, admitted that most of the time, masturbation for him was just getting it over with. He said he usually rushed through the entire process in under 2 minutes, often while standing in the bathroom before jumping into the shower. It had become more of a quick release than a mindful, restorative experience. The problem with this? When you rush, your body stays in a sympathetic state, the fight or flight mode. Your breathing is shallow, your muscles stay tense, and your heart rate spikes briefly before crashing. Instead of triggering a wave of relaxation hormones like oxytocin and endorphins, the experience ends with an abrupt drop in energy and a lingering feeling of fatigue. For men over 60, this effect is magnified because your nervous system doesn't shift between stress and relaxation as quickly as it once did. A rushed session can leave you more drained than refreshed, especially if you start the day that way. The fix is simple but requires intention. Slow down. Take time to breathe deeply, focus on the physical sensations, and allow your body to build toward climax gradually. This not only improves circulation and oxygen delivery to the pelvic region, but also maximizes the release of feel-good chemicals that help you sleep better and feel calmer afterward. Mistake 5, shallow breathing. Frank, age 72, thought he was doing everything right. He had already adjusted his timing, reduced his frequency, and gave his body more recovery days. But he still felt strangely tense after masturbation, almost like he'd just finished a stressful phone call instead of something relaxing. When we talked through his routine, I discovered the missing piece, his breathing. Frank was holding his breath or taking quick, shallow breaths throughout the process. This kept his body in a low-grade stress state, preventing full oxygen delivery to his muscles and pelvic tissues. Here's the science. Deep, rhythmic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest mode. This is where real recovery happens, where circulation improves, muscles relax, and hormone release is optimized. When you breathe shallowly, your nervous system stays partially in sympathetic mode, the fight or flight state, which blunts these benefits and can even leave you feeling jittery or fatigued. The fix is simple. Before and during the session, consciously slow your breathing. Inhale deeply through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale through your mouth for 6. This not only increases oxygen flow but also primes your body to fully enjoy the relaxation and hormonal benefits afterward. Mistake 6. Using it to fix insomnia. Carl, age 69, had been struggling with sleep for years. He often woke up around 2 or 3 a.m. and couldn't drift back off. Somewhere along the way, he discovered that masturbating in the middle of the night sometimes made him sleepy again. It became his go-to fix for insomnia. At first, it seemed harmless, even helpful. But over time, Carl noticed his sleep quality was actually getting worse. He woke up more often, had more vivid and disruptive dreams, and felt groggy in the mornings. Here's why. While sexual activity can release relaxation hormones, doing it in the middle of the night can also spike dopamine and adrenaline, two chemicals that make it harder for your brain to settle back into deep sleep. For men over 60, the body's sleep cycles are already more fragile, and disrupting them can throw off the next night's rest as well. The fix is to avoid using masturbation as a late-night sedative. Instead, work on building a consistent pre-bed routine that supports natural sleep, things like dimming lights, avoiding screens, and practicing slow breathing. If you want to use sexual activity to help with sleep, schedule it before bedtime rather than in the middle of the night, so your body can transition smoothly into deep rest. Mistake 7. Ignoring body signals. Steve, age 71, prided himself on being consistent with everything, his workouts, his diet, and yes, his masturbation routine. He had set days for it, and he rarely skipped, no matter how he felt. To him, it was part of staying active. The problem was, Steve sometimes pushed through even when his body was sending clear warning signs: slight pelvic soreness, lingering fatigue, or feeling unusually tense afterward. Instead of adjusting, he kept going out of habit, and over time, those small warning signs turned into persistent lower back discomfort and reduced stamina during exercise. Here's why this happens. After 60, your recovery window is longer, and your body's tissues are more sensitive to overuse. If you ignore signals like soreness, fatigue, or reduced arousal, you're missing an early opportunity to rest and repair before bigger issues develop. Think of it like driving with the check engine light on. You might make it a few more miles, but you're setting yourself up for a breakdown. The fix is to listen closely to your body. If you feel unusually tired, sore, or mentally flat, skip that day. Give your body the rest it's asking for, and when you do return, keep the session gentler and more relaxed. That way, you protect not only your sexual health, but your overall mobility, energy, and comfort. When men over 60 hear about these 7 mistakes, some react by thinking, maybe I should just stop completely. But in most cases, that's not the best solution. The key isn't stopping, it's combining the right timing, frequency, technique, and mindset so your body benefits instead of suffers. Think of it like exercise. If you work out at the wrong time, too often, with poor form, you risk injury and burnout. But if you choose the right moment, give yourself recovery time, and move with good technique, you build strength and endurance. Masturbation works the same way. The combination principle means, choose the right timing, right pointing arrow, avoid high-demand parts of your day when you need peak energy. Control frequency, right pointing arrow, space out sessions by at least a day or 2 to let hormones and tissues recover. Use mindful technique, right pointing arrow, slow down, breathe deeply, and allow your body to shift into relaxation mode. Pair it with recovery habits, right pointing arrow, hydration, light stretching, or even a short walk afterward can boost circulation and speed recovery. Adjust based on feedback, right pointing arrow if you feel sore, fatigued, or mentally flat, rest longer before the next session. When you combine these factors, masturbation stops being a silent drain and becomes a tool that supports healthy testosterone levels, stronger pelvic circulation, better mood and stress resilience, deeper, more restorative sleep. Men who adopt this approach often notice improvements in energy, physical performance, and overall vitality within a few weeks, not because they're doing more, but because they're doing it better. And if you want to see these results for yourself, you'll need a clear and realistic plan to follow. Changing your masturbation habits after 60 isn't about making a giant leap overnight. It's about making small, intentional adjustments and giving your body time to adapt. That's where the July 14th 30-day plan comes in, a simple structure I use with many of my patients to help them reset without overwhelm. First 7 days, awareness phase. Your only job is to observe and record. Every time you masturbate, jot down time of day, energy level before and after, mood before and after, sleep quality that night. This isn't about judging yourself, it's about spotting patterns. By the end of the week, you'll likely see connections you never noticed before. Next 14 days, adjustment phase. Based on your notes, start removing your biggest mistake. If timing leaves you drained, change it. If frequency is too high, add rest days. If you're rushing, slow down and focus on deep breathing. Make only 1 to 2 adjustments at a time so you can clearly see the difference they make. Final 30 days, optimization phase. Now that your biggest mistakes are gone, fine-tune your routine. Align timing with your energy needs, e.g., evenings if mornings leave you sluggish. Maintain optimal frequency, often every 2 to 3 days for most men over 60. Use mindful technique, pairing stimulation with relaxation. Keep adjusting based on your body's signals. By the end of this month, your habit will be working with your body, supporting your hormones, circulation, mood, and sleep. Patients who follow this plan often tell me they feel like they've gained extra fuel in the tank, not because they stopped, but because they learned how to do it in a way that fits the body they have today. And that leads us to the bigger picture, why this matters for your long-term vitality and how to keep it going for years. Your body at 60, 70, or even 80 is still capable of pleasure, recovery, and renewal. Masturbation, when done with the right timing, frequency, and technique, can be more than a private act. It can be a quiet form of maintenance for your hormones, circulation, mood, and sleep. The problem is, too many men unknowingly make small mistakes that add up over time. They feel drained, their muscles recover more slowly, their mood dips, and their sleep suffers, and they think it's just getting older. But age is only part of the story. The other part is how you treat and listen to your body. If you've recognized any of the 7 mistakes we've covered today, I challenge you to make one small change this week. Maybe it's adjusting your timing, adding a recovery day, or slowing down and breathing deeper. See how your body responds. Notice your energy in the mornings, your focus during the day, and your ability to sleep at night. And remember, this is not about guilt or pressure. It's about respecting your body's needs and working with the biology you have now. When you do, you'll find not only more physical energy, but also a greater sense of confidence, clarity, and connection with yourself. If this message resonated with you, share it with a friend or leave your own experience in the comments. You never know who might need to hear that it's not too late to feel strong, focused, and alive again.